Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Kaga Voice over here. I'm bringing you a new fanfic today, and I'm also here to have a small announcement. Over on my gaming channel, Matsukaiga, we are starting our first video slash let's play. We're doing hardcore in Minecraft 1.19 because with the new 1.19 update, there's come some extra challenges that I don't know if I'm looking forward to or not. But stay tuned for that, and as always, if you like what I'm doing, like, subscribe, a comment. If you do enjoy the videos I'm posting. But today's what if is, what if Naruto was a half demon and the lineage of Sparta? But let's get straight into it. Naruto sat at the edge of his bed in deep thought. Over the course of the last 3 months, he was having the same dream repeatedly. Over the time, it seemed to give him some kind of message. The dream held two parts. First, he would see the image of three different men that seemed to be connected somehow. He would also see multiple images of people fighting one another, as if they loved it. Then, after the images were all said and done, he would see the same three men from the images that held very similar appearance, tell him to awaken. She still didn't get what meant by that. He just got home after he took care of his former sensei. Though there's the results of him gaining his first skill when he unconsciously lost control of his emotions and killed the man in cold blood. But Iruka told him it was okay since he was protecting him from a man that was a traitor for the village. He learned about 5 of the technique within the scroll that he felt he just had to learn. However, something else happened tonight as well. For some reason, when he was hit with the shuriken, he did not feel the wound at all. It just healed on its own without him even knowing it. But one thing he knew was that absolutely surprised him when he saw Ruka take a hit. It was that he felt truly pissed and lost and just simply killed Mizuki without any remorse before he realized what he'd done. And yet he still felt no remorse. He sighed once more before he climbed into his bed and went to sleep, or so he thought. Time skip, unknown location. He then found himself in a dark place that looked like a sewer with water that went below his knees. As he looked around in the darkness with the only light that's shining through was the glow from the sun, he looked around the area before he started to get a feeling that something was calling him, as if he was attracted to it. Therefore, he walked down the dark area before he came across the corner that told him to stop. Down the corridor, he heard what sounded like growling. The blonde hair awoke from his blackout, and came back to his small apartment where he thought he was in. He looked around, noticing that he wasn't near the window, the bed, hell, not even in Konoha. He saw that instead he was inside of a sewer of some sort. It was dimly lit. Then he heard the sounds of growling. Seeing as he didn't know where he was, he decided to follow it like anyone would. As he traveled, the growling became bigger and bigger, till he came across a hallway where the sound was at the loudest. He went down the hallway to seeing a light at the end. When he entered the room, he saw that he was now in a dark, prison-like room with a huge cage in front of him. He saw a pair of huge red eyes that peeked through the darkness. Naruto saw that it was a giant fox. "Come here, boy," said the giant fox. Naruto was about to listen, till he heard another voice behind him. "I wouldn't listen to that giant furball if I were you, kid," said an unfamiliar voice. Naruto turned and saw the person behind him. First, he saw a man wearing a red trench coat, and he had a shirt underneath the jacket and wore a pair of black pants and black steel-toed combat boots. He also saw the man had a strange-looking sword that seemingly stuck to his back, which Naruto was wondering how he was doing that. It was some kind of broadsword, though he did not know what type for sure. It had a small hilt with a pointed tip, meaning the sword could only be used single-handedly. The hilt led to a skull with pitch-black eye sockets, which had a top bone similar to a person's rib cage. The guard looked like two small bones ran along the flat side of the weapon along the five ribs until it reached the beginning of the blade. The second man had white hair, but his was slicked back and spiky. He wore a blue trench coat that held some kind of white vines along the jacket. He wore a black vest underneath it, and black pants like the previous person. In his right hand he had another sword. The sword was a katana that was sheathed in a black scabbard with a yellow tie hanging from the bottom of it, wrapping around the hilt. The wrapping around the hilt was white, though there was a straight black line going down from the cap to the tsuba, which the cap was a bronze color. The last man once again looked like the previous two men. He wore a blue jacket and blue pants with a red hooded vest. Naruto noticed something that separated him from the others. The other two was his right arm. His right arm was all in sense of the word demonic in structure. He saw that it looked like an armored hand that had some sort of white cracks and white fingers on it. He also saw the man had a blade on his back like the first person for unknown reasons. The blade was a red single-sided sword with a staff pole for the handle. "Who are you guys?" Naruto asked. "Well, kid, my name is Dante. These two here are my brothers, Virgil and Nero. The reason why we are here is because we need you," Dante said, well, with Naruto looking confused. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked, with Virgil stepping up. "What he's saying is that we are here because you're the only one that can help us accomplish our goal. You may not know this, but we figured out you're a distant cousin through our father," Virgil said, and Naruto still looking confused. However, before he could speak, Kyuubi beat him to it. Wait a minute, I recognize your sons now. You are the sons of Sparta," Kyuubi said, with the three men looking at the Kyuubi strangely. "How do you know that, demon?" Nero spoke this time with the Kyuubi laughing up a storm. "I was once Sparta's devil arm, along with the other 9 Biju. He once fought the others and me before he betrayed Mundus and came to the human world. After he sealed his power away, he learned that with my brethren and I were escaping, so he left to this world and split me and the other 9 into different areas. As far as I knew, after he left siring a child with a human," Kyuubi stated, with Naruto getting more confused of what was being said. "Hold up, who the hell is Sparta and what the fuck does this have to do with me?" Naruto asked, with Kyuubi speaking again. "Sparta was one of the strongest demons ever to live. He was a devil demon and he worked for the Dark Prince Mundus, who was trying to attack and conquer the human world. Sparta would later betray him by sealing the gate with both his blood and the blood of a human priestess, along with something called the Perfect Amulet. To further ensure the gate would not open again, he sealed his power with a sword called Force Edge and sealed it in the gate. He currently held me and the other Great 9 as devil arms, but he couldn't hold us since he sealed his power away. Therefore, he left his home and came here, where the humans were experimenting with what you call chakra. He then released us in different areas, and while we were demons, we took some of his influence, and we didn't harm any humans. We later learned that Spire silenced another child, though we never met the kid. I guess you're that one's descendant," Kyuubi said, with the other 3 nodding their heads, confirming what he said was true. "The furball is right, kid," Kyuubi growls at this. "You're the descendant of our 4th brother, Kazuma. We discovered that he was here in this part of the world, so we came here. But during the time we were dead. So through the years we waited through his descendants to see who would awaken his power, so that we can give him or hers ours. That person appears to be you," Dante said, with Naruto scratching his head as he absorbed the information into his skull. "Okay, in a way that's pretty cool. Everyone always called me a demon, so I think it's time I show them what I can do," Naruto said, grinning evilly at the thought of retaliating further against Konoha in his own unique way that would make those assholes on the council shit themselves. That would be kind of cool. Those fools in your village mistreat you and the Hokages let them get away with it because of the fox here. Dad wouldn't have tolerated it, and neither should you. So we're going to help you train with everything we know, and so will the fox, said Virgil, seeing the QB look at Virgil as if he grew his own set of tails. Why should I? Said QB, as helping humans was beneath his standing as a demon. Because that is the only... Because that way you can get some payback in the village. When Naruto uses that power to make them all miserable, it will be like you getting your revenge on his behalf. Besides, you owe Dad after you caused that incident a few hundred years back and nearly got him beaten up by a bunch of near angry women and his wife, Dante said, letting the QB. Dante said Dante, making the QB let out a dark chuckle as he remembered that incident. Flashback. Sparta was relaxing at a hot springs while having the QB's power sealed away in gauntlet form. But the fox would become bored and use its power to send a flash fire to burn down the wall between the sections of the hot spring for male and female occupants. Sparta being the only one on the male side, the females that were on the other side, who were wearing little to nothing, accused him of being a pervert and tried to attack him. Fortunately, Sparta still had some power left in him that was beyond human, and he got away before the women could pound the crap out of him. And flashback. Okay, you got me there. Fine, I'll help him, provided that down the road he kills a few more of those daring villagers. You know, the ones that try to beat you up on your birthday, or on any day they see fit. No one is around to protect you, said QB, as he didn't want his vessel to take hits anymore, and not hit back like some pacifist thinking that people would learn their lesson later on. Screw later on, they needed to learn their lesson now. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. What does it that you are one of the last standing members of our clan, although our blood has diminished over the generations, to the point where our demonic blood has become a unique form of human blood, Dante said, Naruto, raising an eyebrow at that. What do you mean exactly? Naruto asked. I'm saying that you are our last descendant and we wish to change that. It's pretty funny how your weak devil blood is compared to ours, but I have a feeling we're about to change all of that, Dante said, with the others nodding their heads as well. Wait, if you're my ancestors, do you know who my parents are? Yes, the old man was not going to tell him, so he would have to ask the next best thing. Well, kid, we don't know who your parents are. We just know that you hold our blood, and what we're planning on doing is giving you a rebirth of sorts, Dante said, with Naruto looking a little sad. Rebirth? What do you mean exactly, Naruto asked as Virgil stepping up. He means that we're going to make your blood as strong as ours. Our powers consist of many things. The first of being healing and regeneration. Our bodies are able to take stabs through the limbs, organs, you know, things that normal human beings would be permanently weakened from. We also have another ability that allows our bodies to transform into something called the Devil Trigger. But for Nero over here, it's a lot different, Virgil said in a calm tone, with Naruto looking confused at that. What do you mean? Virgil, right? He said, with the man nodding. Nero stood up and presented his straightened right arm. His right arm is something that you will learn down the line, but for now we must prepare for your rebirth, Virgil said, with Nero stepping forward towards the boy as he presented his arm. This, in a way, is my devil trigger, Nero said, with Naruto staring directly at the arm. It looked like it was covered by red and black armor, with the hand and the sides of the armor being glowing a blue. It was clearly demonic and held an inner power to it that the blonde could not even begin to comprehend. As the half-demon waved his arm in the air, a slight astral form followed it, both separate and connected to the half-demon's demonic arm. This, Nero said, bringing his arm to eye level, is called the Devil Bringer. It is both a part of me and separate from me. The blonde looked at him strangely. You see, when I was a child, I was possessed by a demon who wanted power and was willing to use me to get it. The people watching me at the time fought against the demon and were able to drive it back out of me with the help of my demonic blood. However, when the demon was removed, it was soon revealed that my arm had taken a bit of the demon's power and used it to turn my arm into what it is today. Now I can use this arm to pull my enemies to myself or pull my enemies or myself to me. It's really fun once you get used to it, Nero said with Naruto nodding before he smirked. Virgil then stepped forward, presenting his sword to the blind boy. For me you shall receive my most prized possession from my father, Virgil said, presenting the katana. This weapon is known only as Yamato. Yamato. This is a sword my father wielded and used when he betrayed the demons to come to the human world. This sword contains my father's personal style called the Dark Slayer style. It's a style that allows you to move at super high speeds and use attacks with very high precision and timing. However, you would really need to develop some more speed if you truly wish to use the style to the fullest. He said with Naruto frowning at that, but he agreed to it. Virgil then handed him Yamato, with Naruto feeling information storming through his mind, and like that, he knew the Dark Slayer style. After all that was said and done, Dante stepped forward with his sword. That was by far the coolest looking blade in Naruto's opinion. How sick and demonic it looked. Whoa, kid, it's time to present the main course, or in other words, a family heirloom, he said, presenting Naruto his broadsword. This is quite possibly my favorite weapon from my father. It's called Rebellion. This has helped me slay many demons and have given me all my devil arms. Rebellion, while being a devil arm, doesn't have a true style other than one called Doppelganger and another called Quicksilver, but it does have much to give, like its ability to purify and destroy hell gates. It holds a lot of attacks that I think you will love once you try it, he said, handing Naruto Rebellion. When the blonde's hands touched once again, he felt knowledge go through his mind like he knew how to use it. In addition, other things that felt good about holding the blade was allow was that it allowed him to use his right hand alone. Okay, then, let's do it, Naruto said with a huge smile on his face, and Dante and the others smirking at them. Very well, but for this to work completely, it requires pain. Lots of it, Naruto said with a frown, but dismissed it when Naruto waved his arms. It doesn't matter, just make me as strong as you can, Naruto said with the others nodding. Kit, before you do this, I need to tell you something important, Kyuubi said with Naruto looking his way, but not before putting his new swords on his back, which he somehow learned to do from the blades themselves, with Rebellion on the left of his shoulder and Red Queen on the right, with Yamato left in his left hand. Okay, Fox, shoot, Naruto said, with QB looking him in the eye. I wish to also give you some gifts to help you out, QB said with Naruto raising an eyebrow, with his three ancestors looking at the fox's ways to see what the fox demon was up to. And pray tell, what would these so-called gifts be? Virgil asked in his calm, cool tone that made Naruto look at this guy as if he was that robot guy from the Terminators that was just so cool. Look, I can tell that you don't trust me, and I can understand that. But let me ask you this. What harm could I possibly do to the boy if his seal forbids me from harming him? He asked, the three devils simply shrugging their shoulders, knowing that what the demon said was true. Anyway, just to let you know, I'm not going to try to kill you because that would never happen, as the seal would absorb my soul and kill me. Far too fast before I can even give you a scratch. Now what I wish to give you are several gifts, with the first being the ability to use me as a devil arm, since technically your Yandaime defeated me, but you hold my soul, so it still counts. You'll get a lot of uses from my soul as well as being A trickster due to your own devil power, QB said with Naruto looking confused at that. Devil power? I have my own devil power? He asked, confused with Dante smirking at the fox. Good call, Fox. I was hoping he would get that from you, he said before standing in front of Naruto. Well, kid, we wanted that to be a surprise when you got your first devil arm. But since the fox is allowing you to use him, then we'll tell you now. We each have our own devil power, with Virgil and me having the ability to use devil arms, and Nero using devil bringer. But your power is called devil essence, and that is a very, very good power, he said with Virgil speaking after him. What devil essence does is allow you to absorb the abilities of any demon you kill, such as their personality, physical preference, their natural power, and much, much more. With that along the power to use devil arms, you'll gain much more from use from the weapons. By the way, Virgil then looked QB's way. What's your natural power? Pure manipulation of the elements, but he will only gain control of his two strongest elements, which is fire and wind. But in time, he will have full control over all of the elements. QB said, with Naruto looking giddy at the idea. Deal. But what else will I receive from you? Naruto asked the QB, chuckling. You'll gain a lot of my abilities. First, you'll gain my powers of regeneration, which combined with the devil power will make you virtually unbeatable in battle. You shall also gain some of my fox powers, such as our ability to use illusions, or what you humans refer to as genjutsus, and other things that I know you will like. You will also get the ability to summon me as a spirit and use me to assist in battle when you need it. In all, actually, you can use me like Nero did with his devil spirit, he said, with Naruto thinking on it before he looked at the demon with eyes of determination. I'll take the deal. I guess I can get used to the idea of being a half demon with my power I'll soon hold, Naruto said with the other three half devils nodding before they placed their hands on the boy and then closed their eyes. Naruto, just to let you know that this will hurt, but the pain will wear off when you wake up, Dante said with Naruto nodding and closing his eyes as well. Kyuubi then took the time to let his chakra out and wrap itself around the boy. Then Dante, Nero, and Virgil's eyes snapped open. They showed nothing but white. Then they started to yell with the red chakra blasting upwards that made Naruto black out from the pain. He did not wake up after that. Time skip. 2 days later. Naruto awoke from his slumber, his body feeling very sore. He did not even know how long he had slept nor what time it was, but there was one thing that came out of it. He felt like something that he never before felt before. Completion. He felt that now with the knowledge of who he truly is and what he's truly capable of. He liked it. He got out of bed in surprise to see how his feet touched the ground in an instant, but he was still too tired to notice. He got up and walked over to the bathroom, and he did his morning routine before he saw his reflection in the mirror. Gone was his natural untamed, spiky blonde hair. In its place was a dark silvery white that had buffed out and trim and puffed out and trim and reached the nape of his neck. He also saw that his face was now completely void of any baby fat. He held his face was any baby fat he held, and his face was now well chiseled. You also saw that the whisker-like birthmarks were now so thin you could barely see them unless you looked really close. He also saw a change in his eyes. He saw the pupil turn into a slit, and the iris had a small red ring around it. Then he looked more closely at his eyes, and saw that they were still blue, but were icy in color. However, he saw the swords were not on his back, which confused him until he looked at his arms. On his left arm was a tattoo that completely covered his entire left arm. It was the image of Yamato on his left bicep with the image of pale blue spiritual swords on his forearm. However, if one were to look closely at his wrist, you could see the words tradition tattooed on it. On his right arm seemingly represented rebellion, and that looked great. On his right bicep, you could see a huge skull that completely covered it. On his right forearm were 8 rows of what looked to be a person's rib cage, and with the image and what completed the image was a broadsword in between the rib cage that pointed to another tattoo on his wrist that spelled resistance in bold letters. The former blonde was now beyond shocked, but something told him in his mind that this was a natural feeling as a member of the Sparta clan. Well, what the hell do I do now? I need to get stronger if I want to prove that I'm powerful, Naruto thought before he jumped when he heard a response. Well, you need to get some new clothes. Those bright, kill me orange jumpsuits aren't gonna cut it anymore, Kyuubi said. Naruto, however, regained his composure, remembering the night 2 days ago when he got his family heirlooms. Okay, I think you're right on the clothes, but I think I need a whole new change in both appearance and scenario. So I think I know the first location we go to, Naruto thought before he went to his closet, pulled a pair of white shorts and a black t-shirt. The shorts were something he stole from a clothing store back when he was younger, but he learned that they were too big for him to wear. They were, they still were, but he wore his headband like a belt in order to keep his pants from falling. When he also put on the black t-shirt, he was surprised at how tight it was, as if he was wearing a second skin. He then left the house, walked through the streets that maimed and dubbed him as the village pariah. As he walked through the streets, he could not help but see all the attention on him. But for the first time, they were not glares, but looks of curiosity. He let a small smile creep across his face as everyone finally noticed him. It was something he had dreamed of for so long, but for some reason, it didn't matter to him since he no longer gave a fuck about the villagers. This time, he was in it for himself and himself alone. He walked straight to the Kage Tower without even bothering to listen to the guards as they told him to stop. Instead, he simply gave a simple middle finger before walking to the Hokage's door, which currently hid a curtain for certain old man from view. Said old man was busy doing paperwork before he looked up to see a white-haired kid at the door of his office. "Hello, young man. May I help you with something?" he said, with the boy smirking. "Yes, you can, old man. I want to know who my parents are," Naruto said, with Sarutobi's eyes wandering. "Naruto, is that you? What happened to you?" he asked, knowing that only Naruto would call him old. Naruto smoked as he closed the door behind him and walked up to his desk. "Well, old man, it happens like this." He then explained what happened 2 days ago. He explained about the meeting of his ancestors and him learning about his demon gifts he would receive and the weapons he received as well as his bloodline. Sarutobi sat down shocked before he started to laugh to himself and looked at the picture of the Yandame. Could not could not but look at the picture with a humorous grin. "Monado, you never cease to amaze me, not even in the grave," he thought before he faced Naruto. "Well, Naruto-kun, normally I wasn't supposed to do this until you were 14 or gained the rank of Chunin, but I think that would do more harm than good," he said, standing up, walking over to the picture of the previous Hokages, but more specifically to the fourth. He then removed the picture to reveal a safe. He then added in the combination, and like that, the safe opened to reveal some scrolls. He took out 3 scrolls, each a different color, and handed them to Naruto. "Those are from your father. I would tell you who he was, but I think you should find out for yourself. Go ahead, read them," he said, with Naruto nodding and opening the scrolls and began reading contents within. "To my son, Naruto, if you are reading this, then I have long since fallen at the day of the Kyuubi no Kitsune attack, and hopefully you are one of these 3 things. You are of Genin rank, and Sarutobi is still alive, and you've just gained knowledge of the Kyuubi no Kitsune within you. Second, that you are a Chun, and Sarutobi is hopefully still alive, but if not, you've met your godfather, and the Kyuubi no Kitsune is dead. Or at last you are 18, Sarutobi has long passed on to the afterlife, and you are Hokage. Hopefully. But my instincts are never wrong, so I think you are the earliest of the 3. Believe me, Naruto, I would have never considered giving you a hellish life if there was any alternative, but there wasn't, and I had no choice but to steal the Kyuubi no Kitsune in you. If you have not guessed it by now, I guess I should tell you. My name is Namikaze Minato, but you should know me as the Yandame of Konoha. Now, I'm sure you hold some hatred for me, what I have done, but try to understand something. I did what I did because I knew you would be the best one for the job. I knew that with our bloodline, you could use the Kyuubi no Kitsune power to become the greatest ninja and accomplish my dream of being surpassed by a worthy successor. I knew our bloodline would help you in turning the Kyuubi no Kitsune into a devil arm and use the power to you use to destroy the village. Now let me explain our bloodline. We of the Namikaze clan, as our nickname starts, states the descendants of the Dark Knight. We hold about three powers within our bloodlines called devil arms. Within our bloodline called devil arms, devil bringer, and my power, devil essence. The most common part of our bloodline is to use the ability devil arms, which are weapons with demonic powers implanted into them. The devil bringer is the second part of our bloodlines, as all we have to do is touch our first devil arm, which will send a surge of demonic energy into our arm. It turns it into a demonic arm that allows us to pull our enemies towards us, or us towards them. Either way, the power to kick ass. The power kicks ass. The arm also manipulates our strength and can even manipulate time to a certain degree. The last but not least, my personal favorite, Devil Essence, which is a rare power seen within our clan. What the Devil Essence allows us is to absorb the power of demons we kill. Let's say, for example, you kill a demon that holds the power over darkness, then the Devil Essence will give you the ability to use the darkness. Plus, you get some of that demon's properties and could even reflect your appearance around them. There are endless possibilities with that power. Now, into the other such. Now, onto the other things, such as the gifts. Sealed inside the scroll are the pictures of your mother and me when we learned she was pregnant with you. Also sealed in this scroll are my two personal weapons called Angel and Reaper. Along with that, there are blueprints I have for another weapon, but I think you should name it once you finished it. The last thing in the seal is containing my two personal jutsus, the Rasengan and the Horatian, though you may need training for that last technique. Long live my son, may you become a legend beyond my level, and maybe I will see you again someday. Signed, Namikaze Minato, the Yandame. Naruto soon found a huge smirk on his face as he looked towards Saratobi. Well, old man, I think it's about time I make a change in the scenery, he said with Saratobi finding a smirk on his face as well. I agree, it's time for changes as well. And that is it for this episode of What If Naruto Was a Half Demon? Or, sorry, a half devil. Hope you guys did enjoy. Um, if so, I'm definitely going to probably be posting another one tomorrow. We may be coming out with another one today. Who knows? But look forward to that first episode on my gaming channel, Matsukaiga. And I hope you guys did enjoy. And we'll see what Naruto and his new devil powers bring to Konoha. But for now, Kaga voiceover signing off. Goodbye.